Hey folks, it's Keith Gibson here with Keith Gibson's Hot Shots and R&R Tactical again. We're going to do some transitions this week like I promised you. Last week we went through the draw and the index and we wanted to get that first shot on target really quickly. And all that's well and good, but you got to remember that that's going to happen one time per stage normally. Transitioning from target to target is a multi-occurrence every single stage. In a 10-stage competition, you might actually do it 100 times. So that's where you're going to make up the most time. Forget about the splits for right now in between your shots, and let's just get that transition to happen a little bit quicker. The main goal, the main thing to keep in mind is when you come out and you hit that first shot, break your head away first, and then the gun will follow. We don't want to have our sights lined up sitting there just hoping that we can track them the whole way. That's slow, it's a recipe for disaster, and you don't need to do that anymore because that index is the same. So as long as you pivot on your hips and you don't just move your hands and get over here with the rest of your body afterwards, it's gonna go really well. So let's take a couple shots. I'll show you what the transition should look like, and then we'll work on some technique. All right, so that first shot, like we said before, is gonna come out, get right onto the target with your index, bang, you hit it, snap your head over, the gun will follow, and then when your sights hit it, stop for a brief second, and then squeeze the trigger again. Check this out. It doesn't have to be a perfect shot if you got close targets like this. We just want to stop the gun. On that shot, I actually swung through a little bit, so it wasn't perfect. But you're going to come over here, get your sights, and pull the trigger. It's not that index anymore where you can just stare at the center of that target and make that hit. You actually have to pick your sights up and stop the gun. But you can do it quickly. Let's try it again. That's a little bit better. So the main key there is that I actually stopped that time instead of swinging right through. It's a major difference. You won't notice it until you see your hits on target. Make sure you stop. If you don't, you're gonna blow past everything or try and time it and you're just gonna miss. All right, so I just showed you a couple shots and they were close enough together that you might not have been able to see that aggressive swing with my hands. I've moved the targets way further out. It's not even all that likely in IDPA, for example, that you're going to have to make these two shots because a lot of ranges have side limits. It would be hard to do with this. But just to give you an idea of that, come out, bang, and then a hard head turn, and then the gun's going to follow. So if you have two targets like this, some people will come over here and line up on that first one. It's not exactly the best thing because then you have this huge movement to make here. If you are centered up, and you can do that index the same, just realize that you have to rotate your hips. You're standing here, you draw, rotate your hips a little bit, and you're there, and then you have the big swing after. Let's do a couple of those and we'll see what we got. So, you gotta get in there, swing, bring the gun, and make that second shot. You have to find your sights on that second target, especially with this big of a swing. I can't emphasize that enough. One more time, watch my head snap before the gun actually comes over. It's absolutely imperative that your head snaps over. You can only shoot as fast as you can see. That's something you're going to hear me say a couple times, but it's so true. You got to have that target focus. When the gun comes in, you can let your focus transition to your sights for a split second, and then you can press the shot. All right, so yeah, that's great. Single shots on target. What about when we have to make two shots, transition, and make two more shots? It's the same exact thing, only now you've got two sight pictures at each target. Make sure that when you fire that second shot at this target, that you're not whipping your head away before you even get that shot off. You have to at least start to see your sights lift before you can break off and get to that other one. Otherwise, you're just throwing it in the general direction. Same thing, when you swing over here, you got two shots to make. It doesn't mean that you should speed up so fast because I got two shots to make, that you should actually miss or make a hit that you don't want. So get over there, get that sight picture that you want, make the center hit again, and then make the center hit. It's just same thing. I mean, if these were static, we wouldn't even be talking about this. But all of a sudden, you got this big wide transition and everybody gets freaked out a little bit. Bang, bang, switch, gun, bang, bang. It's just that easy. Just make sure your head snaps over first, the gun will follow, and if it doesn't right now, you just need some more range time. Don't get into that bad habit of making sure you track your sights the whole way. It's gonna work against you when you start to get better. All right, so our friends at Reaction Targets let us borrow this awesome little thing. It's a great training aid, and it's full of transitions. What happens is when you hit that white plate that's in the shadow right now, that swings back around, and the top piece that's red will start swinging back and forth. So now not only do you need to transition from one side to the other to keep flipping that white target, but you have to keep your eye out for that red piece as well. This is the exact main reason why in a combat situation you don't want to have your eyes locked onto that sight. There's a whole lot more stuff to see, especially in real time in a real situation, than just your sights. So why don't I run it and we'll just take a look at it, see what it looks like. Just like that, 2 hits, right on target. The red piece is clean. The whole idea there is to make sure that you're not hitting net. That could be a hostage's head. It could just be a swinger in IDPA. Whatever your purposes are, you just want to keep those eyes open and focus on seeing everything at once. And then when you need to make that sight focus, make it quick and hit your target. All right, so we're going to break out of our pistol mold a little bit this week, and we're going to do some reviews on some shotguns. This is the Mossberg 930 SPX. It's a 5-shot because we live in New York and we have a pistol grip on it. It's the choke pistol grip stock. It's good. It feels really nice. We're going to put it on the range and see how it does. We're going to compare it to another Apple, another 930 with a different style stock, a little bit more what we're used to shooting, and see what the advantages are, see what the disadvantages are, and especially going to talk about how we feel about Mossberg's safety on top with a stock like this that kind of locks your thumb underneath. So without further ado, let me introduce Ray from R&R Tac. Ray, come on over here and show us what you've got today.
Keith, how we doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. Good. The 930 SPX also with the more traditional stock, the extended tube. Like Keith said, we live in New York. In New York, you can only have 5 with a semi-automatic if you have a pistol grip. But of course, we have the traditional stock. You can have up to 10 rounds. These are both excellent shotguns.
Okay. All right, so I've got the choke stock on the Mossberg 930 SPX. I'm gonna run it on this plate rack, see how it does, see how it feels. And I'm gonna start with the safety on, just like I was carrying it in the field. So, because I wanna know, you know, when I get that momentary meh, or whatever the start is, how do I get to that safety? How's it feel? I'm sure all this can be practiced out, but standing like I would normally hold it, I wanna know, how do I get that safety off? How does it feel? So here we go. Well, I'll tell you what, the safety's awkward. I mean, it is. It took me a second to get up on it and click it off. But this sight system is really, really nice. It transitioned through all those plates perfectly. They went down no problem. The only thing I will say is that, you know, it's a little bit recoily with the stock. It felt a little bit different than that traditional line. Not bad, it just did definitely feel different. And like I said, you could probably practice through that, but let's shoot the other one with the traditional stock, and we'll see which one we like better. All right, so we're gonna run that same show now with the other 930 that we've got. This has the traditional stock. It's gonna line up the recoil nicely. We finally have our extra shots, because we're in New York again. Like I said, we can't have that pistol grip. But the main thing is I can actually put my thumb on the safety from the get-go. If I'm relaxed, waiting on duty, I got my thumb right there. I'm ready at all times, versus the other one where I had to come up and over. Since I have more ammo, I added another target. That one's from Reaction Targets as well. You hit that plate down, up comes the clay. It's a fun target, so we threw it in the mix. All right, let's see how she does. Damn bird shot. Just down. Bird shot's killing me, I think.
Yeah,
good?
She's good.
Man, I don't know. I'm seeing pellets. You're not supposed to hit them dead center with a shotgun. That's the point of having a shotgun. Recording?
She's going.
Malfunction.
Really?
Wow. It ripped it ripped the case head. Okay. All right, so we've shot both guns. I really like that traditional stock on this Mossberg 930. It just points a little bit easier for me, A, but B, that safety issue for me is huge. I just can't imagine being on patrol and having my hand up here to manipulate the safety. It just doesn't make sense. Guys aren't gonna do it. It's gonna cost them that extra second in the beginning. That being said, both guns were really accurate. This one, because of the little bit higher cheek piece, it really kind of lined up just like Daddy's shotgun, which a lot of us shot those before we ever got into neat little guns like this. So that's an advantage too. And the biggest thing, you've got that extra ammo. It's crucial. If you're in competition, it means you have to reload less. If you're in real life, it means you have to reload less. And that's always going to be important. So for me, the 930 with the traditional stock gets the nod, but I have some nice things to say about the one with the tactical stock too. So let's go over that. All right, so the other Mossberg 930 SPX, everything was basically the same except we had a pistol grip shotgun stock on here. Now that makes it really nice once it hits your shoulder. I did notice slightly more recoil with it, and I'm not sure if it's just the ergonomics of the way the recoil translates through the stock, but it wasn't big enough difference that it would make me discount the stock. The only thing that makes me discount it is this hand positioning. I already went over that. I won't beat it to death, but I just really don't see how you're gonna get that safety. The one really nice part about that, it's really positive control. Like I said, I felt maybe a little bit more recoil, but with that control on this hand, man, it's easy to steer. Mostly steering with my left, but this one stabilizes and it really is easy to pull it into your shoulder. You lack that on the traditional stock. It's more, you press it into your shoulder and that's where you are. With this guy, you can really get a hold of it, which would be nice if we were shooting, you know, 5 slugs out of this really fast. You want to make sure you're in the pocket, take the recoil down as much as possible. Both of the guns have these Picatinny rails up here. I like them. We can put whatever we want on them. These ghost ring sights are nice. The fiber optic's nice. This one was limited. You know, it is what it is. Some of the states are actually in America and you can do what you want. We're in New York, so you can't. Nothing but good things to say about Mossberg in general. Just not quite sure I like that stock design, but you be the judge. Thanks for joining us this week on Keith Gibson's Hot Shots. We went over some great guns. Thanks again to R&R Tac for bringing them over here. They got a lot of nice toys to play with, and you'll be seeing a lot of them. Ray, thanks so much for coming in.
Keith, thank you very much.
We'll do it again next week.
Always good. You really made those things look good. Like I said, Mossberg makes a great gun. It's always the driver who sits there and makes it look cool, though. Once it says, you did a great job.
Thanks, Ray. Next week we'll bring out something different to show everybody.
Hey, that's what we do.
All right, baby.
We got lots of guns, lots of time.
All right, cool. See us next week.